Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Backline with Rob and Adam. My name is Adam Cawley, alumnus of the Second City Main Stage.
And my name is Rob Norman. I'm author of the cool improv book, Improvising Now, a practical guide to modern improv.
Hey, Rob, how's it going?
It's going well, Adam. How are you?
I'm well.
Good.
What's the latest? I know you've got kind of a crazy time right now with school starting, with kids, with everything, but what's up? What are you doing?
I'm not going back to school. What do you mean?
You have
School starting.
You have to send children to school.
Open the door. Say, go find it. It's easy. I'm not doing well today, actually. I spent the morning watching Pretty Woman. I had to do some research, so I watched the hit film Pretty Woman, and I'm reeling. It's quite an emotional film. Really sad.
What research do you need to do for Pretty Woman?
I had to watch it. I was trying to figure out the structure of Pretty Woman, but I don't think I've ever seen Pretty Woman before. I think it was always on in the background, and so I thought I had seen Pretty Woman, but I had never seen Pretty Woman. It's a good movie. It's a good film.
It's a good film. It's very odd. You see Jason Alexander, George Costanza, as Big Creep.
Big Creep. Also, it's an incredibly romantic movie. Incredibly, it's one of those movies while you're watching it, you're like, I just want to be there. I want to be with those characters. And it's shot in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been to L.A. It's not like Pretty Woman.
In what way?
It doesn't feel like I'm on the set of Pretty Woman when I'm in L.A.
No, the prostitutes you visit are in a very different area of town.
Sex workers, but yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think I'll get this right, but the writer of Pretty Woman, I believe, took 9 years to sell it. The ending was way worse. I think Julia Roberts dies. Because the writer spent so much time with sex workers to try and understand this world. And it was like, oh, well, this person might die. But also so many, I find it so interesting, the movies that have the most longevity in terms of cultural significance, where it's like, oh, Jerry Maguire, there's 5 iconic lines of dialogue from that movie. Pretty Woman, there's a bunch of iconic moments.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just amazing how, you've never seen it, but I bet you knew a whole bunch of those moments. And even the little, the dumbest thing, the little improv of closing the necklace box.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That wasn't in the script. And then her just genuine reaction of just a Julia Roberts laugh is the most charming thing you'll ever see.
I think that was one of my biggest takeaways, where it's I've seen Julia Roberts in things before, and I understand people liked Julia Roberts. I was like, oh, she's a good actor. I have no issue with Julia Roberts. But when you see her in Pretty Woman, you're like, oh yeah, you're a star. You're so charming. You're just oozing with charm. And then Richard Gere is also there. It's a very interesting movie.
Big mistake.
Because if you're in a film with Julia Roberts, your job is just to get out of her way. I think that's the job.
Yeah, that name is spans 40 years of oh, you are the person. It's there's Tom Cruise, there's Julia Roberts, right? I don't know. It's just that's so funny that you had to watch it. Did you learn anything? Did you learn the structure?
Yeah, I mean, the structure's... The reason why I was looking at the structure is because the structure is very old. It's a kind of archetypical structure. So I don't think I learned anything, but it was interesting to see how it was applied. That was all.
Interesting.
How are
That's
you?
so fun. Did you say, how am I?
Yeah. What movie did you watch?
What did I watch? Oh, I'm just wrapping up a few shows. Winning Time, the HBO series about the Lakers. Unbelievable. Had such a fun time. Then finishing up Barry, which I love. Yeah, just having a good time. Gonna go play a little disc golf with star of the podcast Jason DeRoss after this.
Oh yeah, you're in Los Angeles. That's so fun. Gonna huck some discs around.
Huck some discs. I think it's like the OG disc golf course in the world.
Maybe you'll get lost in a bad part of Hollywood and your life will change. Because you meet someone on the street.
Rodeo Drive, baby. That's so funny. She's in Barry. That's so funny. I just watched an episode today. The Julia Roberts' pal in the movie.
Oh, cool.
Is in Barry. Anyway, we're here to talk about improv. Rob, the Direct Energy episode got a lot of feedback. People really enjoyed it. People thought it very helpful, and us breaking out into little scenic moments. People were like, oh, I get it now. It was very cool. So we got a lot of positive feedback. So thanks for always writing in, letting us know what you like and what things Rob said that bothered you. And today we've got another surefire episode. And Rob, I really want to hear your thoughts on this. Today we're going to talk about characters, and more specifically, character mantras. This is something that I don't know if it's a wide-reaching idea, or just like any improv idea. There are often people who are like, "Oh yeah, I do that, but I call it champignon." So Rob, breaking it right down, getting right to it. What is a character mantra?
So a mantra is a way of using dialogue to create a different point of view for yourself. So the best way I can describe what a mantra is in an activity that we call That's So True. And so here's how That's So True works. You give a boring line of dialogue, and I have an emotional reaction to it. So if this is easy for you, anything you say is going to be boring. Just go for it, AC.
Today is a nice day to vacuum.
Great. That could be the end of the scene right there, or we could move on to another part. But instead of you explaining why you have to vacuum, your job now, AC, is to repeat the exact same line of dialogue using different words. A kind of what I would describe as synonymous offer. You're not heightening, you're not adding anything new, you're just adding more words to describe the exact same idea. So you give that first line, and I go, Then your second line is?
Vacuuming on a day like today would really feel good. Having a device that sucks up dirt that I can get rid of on a day like today seems really fun.
Okay. So we have a little 6-line scene here. Got intense there. Jeez Louise. We have a 6-line scene here where the first thing that you're saying is complete bullshit. You're talking about how you want to vacuum. It's not interesting. But as you repeat this line of dialogue over and over and over again, you create a kind of architecture for yourself, which is a way of playing. So as you're repeating that, maybe, I don't know, Adam, I don't know if you had enough time, but were you thinking at all like, oh, it seems like my character is saying this, but they're really saying blank? Or as I'm saying this, the kind of person who would say this would be a blank?
Yeah, very much. I don't know if this is your intention here, but feeling like this person's not being heard. This person is not being listened to and feels the need to try and get this across in a semi-passive aggressive way of, I don't know where you're going. The house is a mess.
That's exactly what I got to. And so if you're the kind of person who is saying, where are you going? The house is a mess. I wonder what other kind of philosophies that you might have about me, your partner, or the rest of the world. Probably there's a whole bunch of things that you think are a mess, and you don't think that we should be moving on from them. Great. So now we have a philosophy. We have a point of view. And that just comes from repeating the same offer. Now, if you want to go back and scrub back through this YouTube video, you can see in Adam's eyes when he first says the line. That information is not available to him on his first reading of the line. As he says that first line, that information isn't clear. It's only by the third or fourth iteration, I should say, of saying that line that he really kind of absorbs the point of view or the thought process of this person. Well, you've just used a dialogue as a mantra to create a character instantly, and you did it in 3 lines.
It's very funny to have something like this because I think a lot of the stuff that we enjoy talking about or teaching is to reduce the importance or the need to start with something cool, to start with something awesome. Mm-hmm. And so many people in improv, you'll finish a jam or you'll finish a class and you might, ask someone, how was that for you? You didn't really jump in too much. It's like, I didn't really have anything. You're like, what do you mean? Well, I didn't really have anything like to come in with. I didn't have a good idea. And you're like, oh, what a burden. What an unnecessary burden to think that I can only enter an improv scene if I have a great idea that will carry me through a scene. Because even if you come in with a great idea, who's to say you're going to get to explore it? You have no idea what your partner's going to do. You don't have any idea what the audience is going to do. So this idea that you're bringing up, Rob, very much replaces the need for greatness with the now abundance of mundane ideas at your fingertips, which seems like, the beginning of an improv scene doesn't seem as daunting anymore.
Well, and yeah, I mean, I think the idea of you describing the kind of vacuum you want, like that's a transactional scene. That's a teaching scene. Maybe.
Can't do it then. It won't work.
It's not very interesting, but you can make any scene work as long as you have an objective. As long as your character wants something or has a unique perspective on the world, you can talk about the weather. That would work. That scene works as long as there's something powering that.
So why is treating your character's dialogue like a mantra? Like, why is that helpful in creating a perspective?
Well, I like to think about our brains like a big old computer. And for the most part, you have like an operating system or something. I have like, I don't know, what's the current OS X system or Bombay or I don't know what it's called anymore.
Know.
And like you have like some kind of DOS system, right? You're like a 486. And so for the most part, your computer runs with the preset programming, which is like Rob and then Adam. And when I'm thinking about improv, what I'm looking for is to take one of those big old time floppy disks, put it into my computer, and give me more directions of how to behave, how to make this brain work in a different way. And that's what I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about characters. Well, I can tell you right now, if I had done your initiation, I have never said I wanted to vacuum. I've never talked to someone and been like, we got to vacuum. I would really like to vacuum today. I've never said those words. I don't think I've ever said the word vacuum. I'd rather be mopping. So for me, that's a kind of strange idea. It's a foreign idea. But as I say it more and more and more, I start to believe it. And as I start to believe it, my brain takes over and goes, oh, this is the computer program. Okay, well, I'm going to become this person. I'm going to be really passive-aggressive. I'm anal retentive. I want to control everything. I feel resentful. Like all of those things kind of come into focus for me. And then at a certain point, I don't have to think anymore. I don't have to work to be something I'm not because my brain is already operating in this way. So the mantra for me is a way of creating a kind of rhythm or pattern for myself. And once I get into that rhythm, then I don't have to think anymore. I'm not wondering with this character when you say like, hey, do you want a muffin? I'm going to open my mouth and be like, are they gluten-free? What are the ingredients? Are they organic? Like, for sure this person is going to make something as simple as eating a muffin into a chore. Of course.
It's I know this might not be up your alley, Rob, because of your lack of athletic ability, but this is very common in sports. The idea that you have a team have a mantra. because you need to unify that team and to psych them up to get their floppy disk inserted and be like, this is the day. Today is the day that you need to give the maximum amount of effort you've ever given to anything in your life. And to just kind of hope that your team will do that, probably not going to work out. But this kind of stuff, it's written all over the dressing rooms. It's written around the arenas. This is the same kind of idea of how can I fuel my body or my brain to work in this way and give them a clear path instead of just sitting there being like, well, there's so many options of what I could do. I guess I'll choose one at random and hope. This seems like a more empowered way to approach at least the beginning of a scene.
Yeah, two things I want to say in response to that. Number one, very athletic. If you went into my childhood bedroom, it would be
Why would I go into
covered.
your a child's bedroom? Why would I, Rob?
My bedroom as a child. If you went to my bedroom, you would see the shelf just stacked with participation trophies. Stacked. So that's proof right there. I love sports. Number two, I think when we think about mantras, I don't know the name of the team. I'm thinking of one specific team, but like New Zealander rugby teams.
Oh, the All Blacks.
There you go. And the performance that they do before games.
The haka.
The haka, thank you. I don't know how to describe the haka beyond some kind of magic. It's a kind of invocation. And you're seeing people like you can see them like before the game and after the game. They're just like nice, normal people. And when the haka takes over, what a transformation, right? Like you're literally becoming something else. And so it is very powerful magic that we're talking about when we talk about these invocations or these mantras, for sure.
So the way you wanted me to walk through that, you wanted me to change the way I was saying the same message, but you didn't really talk about heightening or building this thing up, increasing the intensity each time I say it. So is that something we want to do, something we don't want to do?
We don't want to do that. I think for us, you can't find the character if everything is changing around you. Like, if there's a story happening, if something's exciting happening, you don't have enough calm for you to find, for your brain to do that important process of switching over. Because you're kind of processing all this other stuff. So we like to change the words that you say so you don't become numb to it. Like, we want you engaging with this idea in 3 different ways, 3 different approaches. But the idea of telling a story about this, like, for example, if you were to say, like, today would be a really great day to do a vacuum. The party's tonight, Ben. We have to clean the house. No, you've lost it. You didn't do a mantra. You did a scene. And you don't have a character running.
You've got the beginning of you got the beginning of a plot that you're just going to drive towards. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think the important part is that when we remove the plot, when we remove things that are interesting, the boring thing becomes interesting. Because people don't talk for no reason. Every time you talk, you want something. And I think that's an important, and that might seem crazy to you. Like, oh, I saw my neighbor, and we said, oh, hot out today. Like, oh, yeah, it's a scorcher. And then you got into your car and you drove away. Well, I didn't want anything from that person. I don't even like them. Oh, but you do want something from them. You're being pleasant. You're being polite. You're keeping the peace. But also, you weren't letting them in. You're keeping them at arm's length. So basically, you're placating someone, keeping them happy, and then keeping them distant so you could get out of there as quick as possible. It's actually a very quite complex want from small talk. And it's interesting to see someone, like, if you've ever been in that kind of relationship, a small talk relationship, and then someone tries to twist it into a friendship, well, we should hang out sometime. And watching someone maneuver out of that small talk away. Oh, of course, that would be so great. Yeah, we should set something up. You got my number? Okay, yeah, we'll talk. Yeah, gotta go, bye. So these wants are very clear to us, but we need to do them in a way where we have the emotional space that we're able to process that. We need, the spell requires room for it to work.
Okay, so let's walk through this then. We do this, then what? What does this do for me? Or do I expect you to do the same thing? Is this just for me? What is this?
After you do this, huge success.
What does
Huge
that mean?
Fame, huge fortune. You could be the next Rob Schneider. You do this technique, you could be the next Rob Schneider. No, okay. So the thing I'm looking for through the mantra isn't a scene. It isn't the whole thing. You can't just repeat, I want to vacuum today 100 times and everyone goes, yeah, we love you. But it's a way for us to find the architecture that allows us to play the next step. So you figured out, great, I am a passive-aggressive, resentful person. That is my character. And my name is going to be Peter. Peter with a hard T. That's what I've decided. Great. Awesome. Well, what does Peter think? Well, if we change the subject to something else, you can apply that architecture that you've built, that you've crafted, and then you can put the new information through the little architecture you built. And it's like, what are those things called where you put a little...
Like Plinko?
Checker in, Plinko. But in this one, you've blocked off a lot of the areas. So the checker always goes to the same spot. It always goes to the same spot. That's the architecture that you've built. And now we can apply it to anything that we want. You still might need to heighten. You still might need to take a break from this using chorus and verse. But hopefully you're in the scene with a fully developed person that can help you navigate your next steps.
So this technique is specifically used at the top of scenes. This is to help create something efficiently, quickly, and then what you've created will allow you to navigate the scene much easier with lack of too many decisions, because as you said, if you've blocked off those Plinko sections and Rob, you say, I love you, I'm not thinking, oh shit, there's a million ways to respond to that. Oh God, should my character do this or that? It's like, well, how would an anal retentive, passive aggressive person respond to that? And I only know that because I set myself up off the top of a scene, clear guidelines, and now I can respond in that manner rather than thinking, God, what is the right choice here? It's just the kinds of choices you've been making now directed at your scene partner who's just been revealed their love to you. This might be a opportunity to heighten how much of that anal retentive person you are, but it's not a time for you to abandon anything. It's a time for you to hold on. And this is what makes this improv character or scene unique, because if we are just two neutral people and Rob, you say, I love you, I'm sure it's going to be either one of two things. Either you accept the love or you reject the love. Pretty easy. And that's why I find this idea so alluring, because you can have those honest moments, but with a much more nuanced perspective, a nuanced way to respond to this, so that you playing it and the audience watching it don't get bored and don't feel that sense of, yeah, I've seen this. Yeah, I know. This happens every time. I get it. So that's what feels very exciting about it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also a way for us to go on the ride as opposed to build the track. Because if you've created a kind of preset reaction to this, like, I'm not an anal retentive person. I'm, for the most part, maybe recently, but for the most of my life, I wouldn't describe myself as a very resentful person. So being on stage and going, oh, you're doing something really nice for me. Well, real Rob, the improviser, would cherish that. Even if I wasn't interested, I would appreciate that. But this character is not going to do that. They're going to be really bitter about what you just did to me. In fact, they're going to see it as a slight. So the program allows me to do things that are outside of my experience, outside of what I think is perhaps even morally okay, and I get to be a little homunculus in the back of my own head as I watch this character kind of go through these motions that outside of an improv stage I will never experience.
So, Rob, building on this idea of character mantra, I wanted to bring up another idea here. This idea of disavowal in improv, right? How this it's not really a positive term. It's usually kind of like hands up, can't get mad, not me. I'm not doing anything. So why would we bring this idea into improv?
This is actually a brand new idea. This came from last night's class, and so I'm bringing it to improv. You're a therapy boy. I'm a therapy boy. If you're in therapy, we experience this thing called a disavowal. So here's how it works. Me and you get into a fight. I go to my therapist and go, oh, Adam was so cruel to me. He was yelling at me. He was calling me the F word, the S word, the B word. He called me the B word a bunch. He called me the C word. And I felt like really betrayed. I didn't know where it was coming from. Anyway, Adam's a really good friend, and he's been one of my best friends for the last 15 years. And he means a lot to me. That, anyway, is the disavowal. So a disavowal is you taking a bunch of emotions and kind of slapping them away. And within therapy, it's a self-soothing method. So for us, when we're feeling a negative emotion that maybe we're judging, we disavow it to separate ourselves from it. But that's actually just a form of repression, because you actually aren't letting the emotion carry all the way through. You aren't letting it kind of resolve by feeling it. Like, basically, emotions stay with you until you process them out of your body. Well, isn't that interesting that's also happening in our improv scenes? So the disavowal takes place after the first or second line of dialogue. You say, okay, we'll do one together, okay?
Okay.
I got a tea bag here. I got a Earl Grey tea bag here.
I see.
Yeah, so we should make some tea because people are coming over, and we should all drink the tea. And you could get promoted by your boss, so we want this meeting to go well.
Yeah. Do you like my new tie? The boss is coming over.
It's great. This plot becomes the disavowal because I did it the first time. I didn't get. The improv gods did not bequeath me with inspiration. I did it a second time. I didn't get it. I felt uncomfortable. So now I'm going to push it away, and now I'm going to create something that is soothing to me. And for us, the soothing part of improv is going to be the who, the what, the where. It's going to be a teaching scene. It's going to be a conflict scene. That's the disavowal. It's worse than an improv block. Because an improv block is saying no to your partner, which you and I have no problem with. The disavowal is you slapping away a feeling because it doesn't feel good to your body, but it's actually good for the scene. Does that make sense?
It's a classic tell of, we've brought the train back into the station, and we're going to try another track. Because we started out on this journey, and then we stopped, and we said, back it up. I don't like where this is going, or I don't trust where this is going. Let's try this easy route. And this one is we're going to go the same destination we've always gone. Let's just do that, because the other one, I don't know, that could end up going badly. And it's the words anyway, I'm telling you. If it happens in a scene, you can just watch someone give up. And I don't even know if they know that they're doing it, but it's like, it's that panic of, I think I should bring up something interesting. I think I should bring up something exciting, right? It's like people do it in a conversation outside of improv, right? Of like, yeah, and Rob, and then this guy called and I got this job. And you're like, are you telling me you got a volunteer position at a golf course? And I'm like, yeah. And you're like, and I'm seeing that Rob's like trying to be interested, but he's not. So I go, well, anyway, what you see that crazy game last night? I'm trying something else. I brought the train back into the station, and I'm trying something else. And that word anyway is very funny of how loaded it can be.
What I think is even more loaded or more telling. And last night we were doing a bunch of scenes that were quite emotional because I like emotion. I want my scenes to be emotional. And so I'm teaching this class and I'm watching people try new emotions. And I'm so interested that people are going, so you're just looking at me, Adam? You're just looking at me? And after they do their line, they look to the ground or they look away to receive your information. I'm going, why are you looking at the ground while you're playing with people? And then I go, oh, because that's a break. You're breaking eye contact with your partner, not because you're doing object work or you have a reason why you're looking away. You're looking away from them because it's less intense. It's the disavowal. So you're making sure you're self-soothing, you're self-regulating yourself. Things are getting really intense. They're getting out of control. You better look away and recharge and gain that control back. So my advice last night is keep your eyes on your partner. Like we don't want to push things down. We want them out there. So that break for yourself, you have to earn that. There's no way that you get that for free.
So thinking about this disavowal, again, just to walk people through it, what's the alternative then? You've got your Earl Grey, and then instead of going to plot, what are you going towards?
Okay, so just so I can do this in my head. So I have this tea bag here.
Yeah.
It's an Earl Grey tea.
Yeah.
So it's not like regular tea. It's not like a Pico. It's like actually a little bit nicer. It's a Earl Grey tea.
Oh, okay.
So I'm probably gonna put some hot water and drink that.
Huh. Yeah, that sounds good.
So I want you to like me. I had to do that just so I could figure out. I want you to like me. I'm telling you about tea because I want to impress you. I want you to think this is cool, and it doesn't seem to be working, and I'm fucked. So once I have that information, I'm going, cool, well, I want him to like him. I'm lower status. I have a sycophantic relationship with Adam. I got to get whatever I want. Now, here's what we need to do. We need to decide who the referee of the scene is going to be. So you got two choices. The referee can be the people in the audience and your director and your coach if you love authority. If you love authority, then the referee can be your coach or your teacher or producer or whatever. If you are someone who likes the attention, it's going to be the audience. They're laughing. They're with you. Or the referee of the scene is going to be you, Adam. And so the way I score points is kind of by fucking you up. You have a deal. I have a deal. I'm trying to please you. Can I please you so hard that the actor, Adam, the mask of his character slips? Can my emotion be so strong that it cuts through the pretense of whatever you're trying to do and makes you be present with me? That, to me, is the win of the scene. Last night we were doing a scene where two improvisers were doing a scene where one was trying to nurture someone, the other one was trying to admire them. It was a very pleasant scene, and we had this kind of like yes Andy kind of energy where people just are pleasant, but nothing heightens.
Okay.
And I pulled one of the actors aside and said, no, I don't want you to nurture like the character. I want you to nurture the improviser. Is she really comfortable in this scene? How can you make her go get actually comfortable? So she goes and she gets a chair. She sits her down in real life. She's in the chair. She puts her feet up. And that was all fair game. But then at a certain point, this improviser takes off her shoe and starts massaging her feet for real. And that was the moment where the improviser went like it was hard for her to hold her deal when someone was playing it so sincerely, so authentically, and really, really cutting through the shit. And that was a magical moment. And she had to like rejig and then get back into the admiration. She goes, oh, you're going to come at me that hard? Well, I'm going to have to admire you 10 times harder for doing that. And that was a really fun scene, and very successful for both improvisers. So, yes, I feel like if the referee is the person you're playing with, then I think we're going to have more fun on stage.
And so this idea of playing to win is to be like, can I get you to be with me in this moment, in a moment of true improvisation, of I've pushed you to a point of you saying, oh my gosh, I need to react to this right now, in this moment.
Yeah, and I mean, at a certain point, everything kind of coalesces where your emotional deal, your character, who you are. There will be moments where suddenly those things all kind of become one. It's a kind of singularity effect where all of these like scattered things kind of come and end up being in one moment. And you and I have experienced those moments. They're beautiful moments. There are shows that we have done quite recently where I went like, oh fuck, that was about our dads. Maybe you didn't know it, but I was like, this show was about our dads. And we were like really working through something. I think I was playing a troll at the time, but I was like, no, this is about our dads. So that part is exciting for me. That part is the whole reason why you might want to improvise, to have that kind of magical experience. And I'm not surprised that when we talk about, like when we go through history and we look at magic spells, we look at rituals, if you were to go to church, there would be hymns, that repetition is a part of that. Because it's all using the exact same science, technique, to invoke something greater than what you are.
Character mantras. What I love is it's very attainable. It's very doable. So try it out. See what happens. Let us know. You can always reach out to us at The Backline Pod on Facebook and Twitter, at The Backline Podcast on Instagram. This podcast is brought to you by the Sonar Network. And if you like the podcast, subscribe, give us a rate, give us a review so other improvisers can find us. Rob, before we head out, anything on stage, off stage that you are currently excited about?
Yes, I'm very excited. Our good friend Rich Hilborn in Ottawa is setting up some workshops for me. So the Backline is going to be in Ottawa this month, September 16th and 17th. I'm sure you could drop us a message at the Backline Pod for more details if you're in the Ottawa area. But I'm very excited. I'm so sorry that you'll be in LA at the time. But one of these days we're going to be back together again, doing workshops and doing shows. You know what I mean? One of these days.
Like not too long.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. What's cool with you?
Okay, so speaking of touring, you and I earlier this summer were in Dallas, and we took a flight back to LA, and the flight wasn't very smooth. We were delayed on the plane for 2 hours. It was not great. Then when we landed, there was like all this smoke or steam that came in through the cabin.
Yeah.
And because we were so late, a bunch of plans got all mixed up for ride pickups, all this stuff. Anyway, I remember saying to you, hey man, you going to reach out to Delta and be like, what the fuck? Like, you fucked us for a few things. And you're like, no, I don't care. And yesterday got my email, and they are giving me some money. They paid for the Uber to get from LAX to our hotel. And all it took was an email saying, hey man, this is what happened on the flight. What the fuck? And so just another little example to fight that big company, even for whatever amount that you get, the satisfaction of the company saying, fuck, yeah, we are not allowed to get away with this. We did not offer the service that you paid for, so here's compensation. And that made me feel really good, and it just made me think of the idea that any of our listeners can fight the power and join in the Atom Army and do not take shit from credit card companies, from airlines, from any fucking big box store. All that stuff is lost in 2022, and I say we get it back. And I did. And I know that you will never do it, and I just thought I'd share that with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's I think that's great. I'm excited to see how many people join the Atom Army. You can check it out at www.atomarmy.com. Very exciting organization. A lot of people are saying it's kind of the new Proud Boys. I didn't say that, but some people are saying it. Cool uniforms you get to wear. Really different belief system. Very different belief system than what I believe. But that's cool, man.
Yeah, I mean, the name Proud Boys, I haven't Googled like what they're about, but it just seems like a bunch of boys being proud. Why not?
Probably LGBTQ plus positive, right? Pride events.
Absolutely.
That sounds great.
Yeah. Now, if you have a truck, you bypass the membership fees and you're in.
I don't know what the truck is, but yeah,
like the
sure.
trucker convoy. I'm combining a few things. Trucks, yeah.
I thought you meant like the 4x4, but you mean like trucker.
Yeah. Regular trucks. Most trucks have, if you got a flag on your truck, yikes.
Yikes.
Yikes,
Also,
yikes, turn off the light.
Just anytime I see someone wave a Canadian flag, I'm like, did Team Canada win the gold? No. Is it Canada Day? No. You're a psychopath.
Yeah.
If I ever see someone waving a Canadian flag, I'm like, obviously you're not from here. Like we don't wave Canadian flags ever. If you have a flag outside your house, that's psychotic. That's a psychotic thing to do in Canada.
Unless it's the World Cup.
World Cup, Canada Day, 2 times, Olympics, 3 times. Makes sense. If there's not an event that is like, now it's time to be Canadian, don't do it. It's weird. Don't do it.
Unless you're in college and you need curtains because you can't afford curtains and you got a flag. There you go.
That's different. That's disrespectful. I understand that. Wrapping up a sandwich in a Canadian flag, I'm like, this person's from here. They get it. They get what we do here. You're wiping your butt with a Canadian flag. I'm like, of course. That's a normal thing to do. Every time I go to America and there's just a whole bunch of American flags, I'm like, this is a different place than where I'm from.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Robbie, a great talk as always. Check out or reach out to the Backline Pod about Rob's workshops in Ottawa. I'm sure Rich will have some things that he's sharing with Improv Ottawa, so you can check that out on their Facebook groups. And more touring dates to come. It's very exciting. We're going to be on a few planes. So, Robbie, great to see you. We'll see you next week.
Burn your flags.
Ooh.